You are entering the Poirsha Fit experience of holistic wellness. Your mental and physical health are now your number one priority. Guided by the wisdom of our ancestors, of mindfulness practices, and using food as our medicine. Healing ourselves naturally is our daily mantra. I'm glad you're here. Let's get into it. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Poirsha Fit podcast. I am your host, Poirsha. Right off the bat, I wanted to share a vegan fail of the week. And this happened to me last week, and we will call it milk and cookies. All right. So Ben & Jerry's has apparently a line of dairy and non-dairy frozen desserts. #ice cream. So I prefer to only eat non-dairy ice creams. Occasionally here and there, I will make an exception. It depends on where we are. Like when we're in Solvang, I don't think they had a non-dairy version. So I ate the dairy. Like it's fine. It's not the worst thing. But for my regular day-to-day life, definitely non-dairy. So I get this non-dairy milk and cookies flavor, and I eat the whole thing over whatever, a course of days. And I really enjoyed it. Like it was really good. So I go back to buy some more, and then I locate the milk and cookies. So I grab it. I take it home. I eat some bites, and I'm just thinking, ugh, something is off. Like, I don't know. It tastes sour or bitter. I wasn't sure, but I just kept looking at the container and thinking, ugh, this doesn't taste like what I remembered. So I put it away. And then, I don't know, a day or two later, I was getting some more. So I try it out again, and I'm eating it, and I'm just like, this is just not good. I don't know what's wrong with this. Finally, I look at the name, I'm reading it, and then I pull out my cell phone because I took a picture of the one that I got the first time because I wanted my sister to try it. So I'm looking like, yeah, it's milk and cookies, just like it says. All right, so what's the issue? I flip it around to the ingredients, and lo and behold, it has dairy. I said, what? Oh my gosh. Oh no. Then I look at my picture even closer, and right above the milk and cookies, it says non-dairy. Oh my gosh. So I purchased the dairy version of that same flavor, and it was completely different. And of course I was thinking, man, has my stomach been weird? Because I was eating all that dairy, but I mean, I wasn't eating a lot of the ice cream. I don't eat a lot in one sitting. So I guess it was fine. And I'm okay, of course. I'm not going to die from eating dairy, but I could have a lot of complications if eating too much of it. And I don't want all those hormones. And I don't even want to get started, but I didn't want to eat the dairy, basically. Here's one thing that I did discover to my disgust, and that's going to make me not eat this anymore, is that more than just whether it's dairy or non-dairy, I just looked at the ingredients for the non-dairy version. First it's oat milk, which is delish. Oat milk is already sweet because oatmeal is sweet. But look, they put liquid sugar, which is sugar and water, corn syrup, sugar, and then they have molasses. How much sweet do they think we need? And then there's coconut oil is fine. I don't know about that vegetable oil, canola oil, or soybean oil. I'm not really a fan of those. Then they have sunflower oil. Why don't you just use the sunflower oil? So that's what they put inside of the non-dairy version. In the dairy version, as far as sweets go, it's liquid sugar, which is sugar and water. Then they have water, sugar. Sounds like a lot of sugar. Plus brown sugar. So I'll say this just has way too much sugar in it, and I'm very turned off. I'm over it. I don't want to eat all that different sugar, and especially I don't want to be eating corn syrup. So that's that. I mean, you guys hear it all the time that just because it's vegan or plant based doesn't mean it's healthy. Since we're already on the topic of vegan and plant based and food that's being produced and given to us, let's just dive into it because I actually do have some issues with some local businesses that just opened up that are plant based, quote unquote, restaurants. And it was very disappointing for me to actually see their menu. So, just so you all know, I have been plant based since 2018. So, as of January 2025, it'll make 7 years for me of not eating meat for sure. Um, Here and there, yes, I've had dairy. It has taken like a journey. There's a process when you change your life over so drastically. And there was me like overnight. I, I'd been thinking about it for a long time. Years I considered, oh, I would like to give up meat, but I just didn't think I could, didn't want to. That's what I knew for all of my life. But as I studied more into yoga and living the yoga lifestyle, there's a lifestyle that people have when they do yoga teacher trainings and they are consistent in their yoga studio practice. There's just a different kind of energy and vibe there. It's when we did our yoga teacher training here in LA, it was in a place, it was in Sherman Oaks, and there were healthy restaurants all around. So when you're in these teacher trainings and people are getting out their lunches because we're there all day, people are eating healthy food. We had Gelson's right next door. So we started going to Gelson's to eat the deli food because it's, I don't know, hopefully healthier, hopefully fresh. Then you start going to restaurants that are nearby that are more plant based and healthier eating. No one's eating fried chicken and fried foods in these trainings. One of my trainings was right above a Whole Foods. Another training was around the corner from a Whole Foods. So eating healthy is just kind of the norm. It's a usual thing. And then I studied Ayurveda. And as I've mentioned before, Ayurveda doesn't teach you to be plant based, but it does heighten your awareness around life. You become more consciously aware of your mind and your body and how it connects and our relationship with nature and us. And nature is plants and animals and what we're doing. Is it ethical? Those types of questions you actually ask and you have to answer it. And if I ask that question, are we ethically raising our food, our cattle? How are the cows and chickens and animals being housed? Is it sanitary? How are they able to produce this much food? They're using hormones inside of the animals, pumping them so that they can produce more, which is unnatural. My teacher broke down how long it takes for a chicken to go from being a little chick to being fully ready to eat because he farmed in India growing up. I don't remember how long it takes and how much shortcut we took, but we definitely took a shortcut. And I imagine, think about pregnancies, like for a baby to be fully kind of developed, it's about that 7 to 9 months of pregnancy. And imagine women start getting certain hormones to cut the time in half, or maybe you're only pregnant now for 3 months or 4 months. There's something wrong with that, speeding up nature. And the way that it shows up in our bodies is all of this inflammation that we have, lots of issues, lots of challenges with organs. I'm hearing a lot of it right now, even with my clients having these organ flare ups, the itis that's happening. These itises are inflammation. It's because of the food. I know it is. And basically the point is they do all that they can to speed up nature. So that means they're pumping them with things that man has created to serve itself, and we're all affected by it. And I don't know that people are making the connection of, look at the lives of these animals. You have to be thinking that they have feelings, they have emotions, and you're consuming that. And the way that they treat the animals, there's no thanking the animals for giving up their lives to feed us. We had more thanks way back when. And oh, this society says, oh, those were pagan people, those pagan beliefs where they at least gave thanks for the sacrifice of the animal's life. Now we don't. We just slaughter animals, just do it for sport, just because we feel like we can. We feel like they don't think, they don't feel. But what I love about Instagram these days is that it shows the personalities of these animals. And it shows the connection of the weirdest combos. Like I saw one where it was a cheetah or a little lion cub that was best friends with a little bear. Like, how cute is that? Or a little lion cub with a bird. And you just see pigs as pets and iguanas enjoying pets from their owner and being treated like family, and these cute little bunnies. Like, we are really connected. And I'm not saying that don't eat the animals. I mean, I wish we didn't, but if we're going to eat the animals, at least we need to be thankful and show some sort of thanks for them sacrificing their lives so that we can eat and enjoy our food. So people ask me often why I decided to go plant-based. It's a lot of reasons, but the biggest one for me is I honestly just don't want to eat food that has hormones injected. These animals are carrying diseases, so they're pumping them with all these antibiotics, and they're feeding them unnatural amounts of food so that they can fatten them up for us to eat. I just don't want that in my body. So it's the way in which we are producing our food, which is a turnoff for me. And of course, we can't control so many things, which is frustrating. Even with plants and harvesting vegetables. And I'm still don't even know about the organic versus inorganic fruits and vegetables. Is it really organic? Is it really not sprayed with X amount of pesticides? What is genetically modified food? What is not? Like, there's just so much that we don't know because we're not on the other side. All we see is the label and we go based off of that. And trust me, I don't trust the government at all when it comes to our food. So I have a tough time taking a strong stance. Like, I'm not someone who would convince somebody else to be plant-based because there's issues in everything. And there's so much that I don't know, I don't control. The only thing that I can control is if I actually farmed my own food myself. And ideally in my life, that's where I'll eventually get to. But for now, I'm at the mercy of restaurants. I'm not even cooking for myself right now. I've been eating out for pretty much lunch and dinner like every day. So because I do that, because my life is just on the go and I don't have the mental capacity to do this running around that I'm doing teaching and also coming home and making a whole meal. That just is unrealistic for my life right now. But I will get back to that. So, speaking of that, there are two vegan restaurants. One of them says plant based that I've been frequenting, and then I just had to stop myself because the truth is these two places are pretty much junk food. One of them is a Mexican restaurant that's all plant-based. This other restaurant, it seems like the food is made by some maybe Caribbean people, but it's stuff like spaghetti, chili. I forgot what else was on that menu, but everything on that menu looked fried. They have everything with the plant-based meat, which I do not like plant-based meat at all. I think it's disgusting. And once again, it's because of how it's produced. They think that people don't want to eat real meat, so they want to eat something that's like it. And so what do? Produce something in a factory again? Like, that's gross. You don't have to make plant-based meat with fake wheat protein or some weird stuff that you've created, like tempeh. Ugh, I'm not eating that. It looks gross. I don't like the texture. I don't even like tofu. I don't like the texture. It's weird. So I just kind of stay away from all that kind of stuff. I would just prefer not to eat any quote unquote meat at all. But you can make that. I've made little like black bean burgers, like black bean with quinoa and sweet potato put together. So you can actually make your own vegan patties or veggie patties. And I did have a phase where I did eat the fake meat here and there, but then I progressed from that. Like, I don't want to eat that stuff. So this restaurant, this plant-based restaurant, I was so excited that it opened up because I'd been looking for places close by that I could eat from quickly. But I looked at the menu, you guys, and it just womp womp. Everything had the plant-based meat. Everything was fried. Literally the only vegetable option you have is a janky little side salad, and it was steamed broccoli. On the entire menu, there was no plants. Where are the plants? That was my question. You're a plant-based kitchen. Where are the plants? I was going to talk to the owner for my podcast. I was so excited it opened, and I had it a few times, different dishes. I had the lasagna, the spaghetti, and the chili. And yes, the flavors are phenomenal. One, the portions are terribly small. And second, I can't deal with just mouthfuls of plant-based meat. I don't think the plant-based meat needs to be in the chili. It doesn't need to be in the spaghetti. It doesn't even need to be in the lasagna. More vegetables is what was needed. So I don't know. I mean, should I see about interviewing the owner? I don't think it's cool because I'm cringing at what the offerings are. I really wanted to support, but I just can't do it. We were even going to have a sister's lunch one day because I was like, oh my gosh, you guys, there's a plant-based food place right around the corner. But I can't even do it because I don't even want them eating it. I don't want to eat it. So that's a bummer. And then the other place, the Mexican plant-based place, don't get me wrong, the food was fire. The flavors were excellent. And I could get it without the plant-based meat. They make it like in house. So I felt better about that. But once again, the food is all not healthy. It's nachos, burritos. They have the vegan version of birria, which my sister loves real birria. But come on, it's really greasy and it's fried. That doesn't set well with the stomach. So you're eating that, beans, rice. There's no vegetables. Where are the veggies? Maybe like a dollop of avocado or guac or a dollop of salsa. So you're getting some tomatoes and onions. These places were so good, but I was like, I cannot eat this stuff. This is junk food. So, yes, vegan food can definitely be junk food. So, don't get fooled. So, what is it that I eat and where do I eat then? I prefer to eat at Erewhon and Whole Foods. Whole Foods, I don't like their hot food bar anymore. After you go to Erewhon's hot food bar, you just it's hard to go anywhere else because it just doesn't look the same. Erewhon, one thing about them, yes, it might be the most expensive grocery store you've ever been to, but the presentation, they actually show care in the showcasing of the food. I love that. You walk in, the food looks organized, it's brightly colored, the fruit inside the packages makes sense. I go to Whole Foods and I eat their packaged fruit, like the berries that are in the container. Those berries versus the berries in the container at Erewhon look completely different. The presentation matters at Erewhon. And so you're happier, paying $1 to $2 more than you would somewhere else. But you also know that everything there is organic. Once again, who knows what that means? I don't know exactly because I'm not the one behind the scenes. I'm sure there's a lot of things that we wouldn't approve of, and that's why we are shielded from this information. So we have to do our best. One thing is interesting not eating meat is that I feel I get more full with less food. And I think, I don't know, some theories I have, it's because I feel I chew more. Like I'm eating a lot of vegetables, and vegetables are very fibrous and they make you chew it a lot to break it down. And I just think the action of chewing makes you a little more energy expensed. So you feel more satiated. It seems like people who are eating meat, they just have this sick addiction to meat. Like, oh my gosh, I'm fiending for meat. Must have meat now. More of it now. It's like, okay, calm down with your meat business. Like, you can't get full from eating a plate of food that doesn't have meat. God forbid. Some people act like literally they will shrivel up and die if they don't have meat for a meal. Like, calm down. If you've ever read the book, or I heard now that there's a Netflix series about blue zones, I finished the book a few months ago where it talks about, it highlights different countries around the world that have the most population of centenarians, so people who live over 100 years old living there. So there are apparently 5 countries in the world, um, and they are Okinawa, Japan, Sardinia, Italy, Nicoya, Costa Rica, Icaria, Greece, and in Loma Linda, California. So these are the locations where apparently they have the highest number of people who live over 100 years old. So in the book, it goes through each of these places, and then somebody interviewed these humans who are living 100+ years old and just asking them their lifestyle and what they ate. And what it comes down to is that these are generations of how these people lived, these different cultures. And the common thread is they ate what was available on their land. These people were pretty much indigenous, and they were farming their own food, doing their own labor, and they were eating what they could produce. They weren't eating processed, packaged food. In general, Japan, it gets a little bit different because of the World War that happened there and how US came over there and brought fast food restaurants and all of that. But in general, they just ate basic stuff that was available for farming. And as far as meat goes, meat was for the people who had money. So in general, these people only ate meat maybe once a month for special occasions. Did you hear that? They only ate meat on special occasions, which is maybe only once a month. These people walked a lot. They worked in their garden. They worked in their farms. They socialized every night. They would walk to neighbors' houses and enjoy each other's company. So there's a level of eating well, eating what's available, working out, so doing the actual labor, and also the mindset, having a community of people to look forward to joining in with. So there's things in our society that we are lacking, right? One, we don't cook our own food. We don't know what they're putting in our food. Secondly, we're not that active. We sit down on our butts all day. Not me, not my profession, but majority of people. It's unfortunate. You're sitting at desks all day long. I just worked with my client yesterday. She said her hips, all of a sudden, she felt her hips bothering her, and she hadn't felt that before. It kind of freaked her out. She's been sitting so much. She was traveling. And she said she just needed to sit in it, and hopefully that it would go away. And unfortunately, I told her, honestly, if it's not the food that's going to get us, it's definitely the lifestyle. The sedentary lifestyle, it just will not help you to live a life of health and longevity. And I suggested to her that she really get a desk where she can stand and sit. She says she has something like it, but she prefer to sit while writing. She's like, well, maybe I can get used to standing up and writing. I'm like, yeah, what's the difference? Standing up and typing, sitting down typing. But why is that such an issue? Why is it such a red flag in my head? It's because you sit. So again, your muscles atrophy, means they get weak. Weak muscles can turn into tight muscles. That starts to affect your lower back. Weak glutes. I already discussed in another episode how your gluteus maximus is potentially the strongest muscle in your body. You need your legs. You need your glutes to fire to help you to walk properly. Try to stay away from having to use a cane, right? You don't want to be in a wheelchair because your hips, maybe you need to get a hip replacement surgery because there's not enough blood flow in the hip joint. Then you get dead nerves, okay? Then you have challenges with your hamstrings. They're so tight that they pull on the lower back. They create challenges for the sciatic nerve. If you have weak, tight glutes, You can start having sciatic nerve pain. You sit down all day, maybe you have weak ankles. And what kind of shoes are you wearing? I have a lot of clients with flat feet. I think I was personally born with flat feet because I saw pictures when I was a little girl. I've always had them. But luckily, yoga and Pilates has shined a light on my flat feet. So I've been working on it for years. And that's helped from my knee valgus, my knees knocking together. And it helps my pelvis to be neutral and my hips in the socket. Instead of collapsing inward, I can walk forward and straight without any like pigeon-toed challenges that I had before. And when you have flat feet, the arches are collapsed and you have foot pain. And all of that energy is dumping in towards the midline of your body, in towards the knees, creating challenges for you to walk, to do regular life things. Sitting is awful for you. We need to get moving. We've lived this life and built a life of convenience. Oh, what's quick and easy? What's available right now? But we're not taking into consideration how that's truly affecting us. What are we giving up in order to gain? And all the society is doing at Big Pharma is gaining more sick people to take medications, sick people to have surgeries. No one tells you that you have the ability to heal yourself. Before considering going under surgery, you can take care of your body, your mind, before that has to happen. And I'm not downing anybody who's doing surgery. I had a mini little surgery once upon a time, but I tried other things before it. So we do our best so that the option is not just to be cut into to fix the problem. We've got to get ourselves out of these chairs. Get walking. Maybe you want to try jump rope. I don't know. Maybe try jump roping 1 minute. Maybe that's too much. Try some squats. Try walking on a treadmill. Try walking outside. I mean, my number one is let's get outside. Let's be in nature. Because when you're outside, I feel like you can connect more. I do. Connect more with the animals. And I can see in the way that the animals interact with one another, how they interact with nature. I see the cycle of life. I see how it's symbiotic. We're all here together. Like we all belong and we all fit so perfectly together. And it changes your outlook on life. It makes you more excited. I personally feel less lost when I go on my midday walks around the neighborhood. I haven't done it in a while just because one, in the summer it got way too hot. It's still warm. We're almost halfway into December and it's going to be in the 70s still here in LA. But let's start moving our bodies. It's the one thing that you are in control of. What goes into your bodies, what you see, what you put into your mind. We have control, and we have to take back that control. And we have to be more vigilant because these food companies here, they're not looking out for the best interest of us. They're looking out for the best interest of their money. You have so many of these people who aren't even vegan, they're not even plant-based, creating businesses that are plant-based. It's disgusting. It's just for the money. I'm going to clean up my act a little bit too. Why did I buy that ice cream that had corn syrup? There's no way I would ever even want to do that. So I need to pay attention more. And sometimes you just have to give things up. Maybe I can't eat that anymore. Maybe I just eat the ice cream when I'm going to make it myself. They have other kinds of fruit options for like popsicles. My favorite is when they have the fruit popsicles and the sweetener that's in it is fruit juice. What a concept. Sweeten sweet fruit with fruit. Oh, why don't we do more of that? And that just reminds me of last month, the project that I did with the high school students that I've been working with. Remember, I'm doing their mindful wellness program for the year. We focused on labels and we titled it, What's in Our Food? So I made a bunch of slides with foods that we all kind of eat and comparing the ingredients. So what we found a lot was, I'm thinking right now of the jelly. So everyone, for the most part, likes jelly, grape jelly, strawberry, raspberry, apricot, whatever kind of jelly, right? And we all had those companies that we grew up with. I'm thinking Welch's grape, right? The jelly. Well, there's a line of it that offers high fructose corn syrup and all kind of gross corn syrup to sweeten it. And then they have their organic version or their healthier version where guess what? It doesn't have high fructose or corn syrup. I think it uses just fruit pectin, which is fruit, to sweeten it. So you're thinking, why does this one company create several different versions? Why don't we just stick to the one that doesn't have high fructose? Well, that was the question that we posed to the students, and they came up with a lot of great reasons why. But not just that, thinking of peanut butter. So you guys, I grew up on Jif or Jiffy. I think it was Jif and Jiffy, yes. Those two also put high fructose corn syrup as sweetener. But the peanut butter that I eat, and I have been eating for these past few years, is like Laura Scudder's, this other one. But the point is the only ingredients in the peanut butter are peanuts and a small amount of salt. Which one would you prefer to eat? So the question is, well, why are we eating stuff or creating food that has high fructose corn syrup if it doesn't need it? And guess what? People wouldn't be able to taste the difference between the high fructose versus the one that just has peanuts. I mean, it tastes like peanut butter. Go figure. Peanut butter. What are the ingredients? Peanuts. Wouldn't that be nice? Another one I looked up was ketchup. That's a big one for me. So we have Heinz, who just dominated the whole ketchup industry. They make ketchup lines that have high fructose corn syrup and corn syrup in it. And they also make the version that doesn't have any of that in it. And I'm sure the only difference is the one with high fructose corn syrup tastes a lot sweeter. So when they use that high fructose corn syrup and regular corn syrup, all that sugar gets people addicted to these foods. In this capitalistic society, all these businesses care about is their bottom line and how to sell more products. And they're not caring about what they're putting in it. They just want it to last longer. And that was another brilliant thing that the kids came up with, which why would they make one that has all this extra stuff in it? Well, it's going to have a longer shelf life because as they experience when they have fresher food, like from the farmer's market, that stuff doesn't last as long. So you've got to eat it. But again, that's not convenient, right? People want things that can last for far too long. And then we wonder why we have digestion problems and stomach issues. And from my Ayurvedic perspective, there have been many people who don't do a bowel movement, not even once a day. Some people only go number 2 every 2 to 3 days. That's not normal. Okay? These doctors will tell you, yeah, whatever. Yeah, that's because that's what they're used to seeing. But that's not normal. You should be eliminating every single day, at least once, twice a day, maybe 3 times. That might be a little bit overboard. But people have problems going to the bathroom. They're backed up. They don't have enough fiber and don't have enough fluids. So those are main issues that I've seen with people. So those are things that can be quickly fixed. Drink more fluids throughout the day, not just gulping it down in one sitting. Eating more foods that have fiber, which are vegetables. A lot of people don't eat vegetables. A lot of people, maybe if you do eat vegetables, you're eating fried versions of it and not baked or steamed or just lightly sauteed with a little bit of some kind of seasoning. Vegetables don't need a lot. When I was cooking, because I was cooking for a long time, I was in a plant-based culinary school. So I cooked a lot. I think I burned myself out. When you're cooking plant-based, it is a commitment because now you're eating all these vegetables, all these herbs, and you have to bring them home, wash them well, thoroughly. I would give my fruits and vegetables, depending on which ones, a bath. You soak them in baking soda or vinegar and water for a certain amount of time, and then it's time to rinse and scrub and scrape. And it's a good thing you do that because you get to see the little buggies that come off. When you're eating, I'm thinking about broccoli one time I saw a whole bunch of little bugs, and I threw that broccoli inside of the pot with water and just boiled those bugs out. You can find little buggies in kale. They'll be there. So you just really have to take the time to clean the vegetables and cutting them up. And so it's preparation. It definitely is not easy. It's not quick, but I think most people have a family of people, so you have more hands to help. I'm solo, so just buying all these vegetables and cooking for myself, it's just too much food. Of course, you can share, but it just doesn't match the amount of money you're spending to buy the groceries and the time to cook the food, and then how much of it you actually eat. Because let's just say you're eating lasagna. You don't want to make lasagna for yourself and just eat lasagna for 5 days. That's not good for the digestive system either, to be eating stale leftovers. So it comes with its own challenges. A big part in this journey of eating healthier, that's the journey that I started 7 years ago, is becoming aware of what you are eating. So the step number 1 that I can suggest to all of you is to start reading labels. Look at what's in it. I'm not saying that you have to give the thing up at this very moment, but it's just implanting seeds for yourself where you're no longer blinded, as I was blindsided with the whole milk and cookies incident. I was just so happy that it was non-dairy that I didn't even look at the ingredients and saw all of that sugar and sweet. And guess what? I actually gave up sweets when I started this 90-day challenge on October 3rd. I was a fiend for sweets. I've been a fiend since, I don't know, maybe as long as I can remember. I love eating sweets like cakes and cookies. Oh my gosh, I was the queen. I'll eat it for lunch, and then after dinner. That's a lot of sweets for years. And something also happened when I went plant based. I started craving sweets and salty things. And I know why, because the things that I gave up were salty. And probably the foods that I eat just contain less sugar in general, right? Except for this stupid ice cream. So it all starts with awareness, just as we're doing with these students in high school. We're just showing them the different labels, showing them what's in food, and allowing them to process the information, and they can now make more informed decisions of, do I want to eat this little bar that has high fructose corn syrup? Do I want to speak up to my parents about eating this jiffy high fructose peanut butter versus eating peanut butter that just has peanuts? That's the discussion. Oh, and I wanted to mention about the jelly. I found a jelly that's my favorite. It is at Whole Foods. I forgot what it's called. I just grabbed it out of my fridge. So it's called Saint Dalfour, and it is 4 fruits. This one has raspberries, blackberries, strawberries, and cherries. But you can get raspberry flavored kind, strawberry. I love apricot and different kinds, blueberry even. So these are all jellies. And it has as ingredients fruit juice concentrate, grape and date, and fruit pectin, lemon juice. And this is made in France. 100% from fruit, no cane sugars, no corn syrups, no artificial preservatives, colors, flavors, or sweeteners. Handcrafted near Bordeaux, France, our family carefully follows a traditional French recipe. We sweeten our hand-selected fruit with vineyard-ripened grape juice, grown from the rich terroir of the surrounding regions. Although our method of cooking in small batches is slow and expensive, it creates the most delicious, high-quality, best-for-you fruit spread in the world. Non-GMO project, verified, gluten-free, product of France. So we just got our answer. It sounds like cooking in small batches versus in these large batches makes it, like it's a slow process, and maybe it takes longer, so it costs more. And that's the exact reason that these companies put this other crap in our food, so that they can batch it in larger batches and sell more units. But I love the fact that they didn't sell out, and I just continue to buy this jam. This is the only one I buy. And it is 10 ounces, so it's not that much, I wouldn't say. It's only $4 to $5, and who's even eating a lot of jelly these days anyway? My belief, when people are looking to eat healthier, I think an underlying desire is to eat more consciously, to know what you're eating, where did it come from, how does it affect my body. These are the things that people really want to know when you actually want to eat healthier, not just eat to lose weight. Those are 2 different mindsets. And I will say eating healthier will consequently help you to lose that weight because you're eating better. And I don't know how much weight you're trying to lose. That's a whole other kind of discussion. But I think rather than focusing on dropping some pounds through food, it should start with, what's even in my food? What am I consuming? How is this being processed and transformed in my body? Is this good for me? Should I continue to eat this? What do I need to let go? Why am I letting it go? Your reason for why you're doing something is the thing that's going to keep you grounded in that belief, and it'll help you from sliding backwards. And that's what's helped me, is my mission was to eat better. I want to be healthier because my family has a long history of cancer. And it is my belief that it is the food and it is the lifestyle that makes someone more prone to having cancer. I am somebody who I just thought about it. We're about to finish this year. I never got sick once this year. I never caught a cold. Nothing. All year long. Other people around me got sick, had flu, got COVID. And I'm over here like, I didn't catch anything. And it's not just so happens, and I'm not a bubble girl. But food is my focus. What am I eating? Why am I eating it? What's not good for me? What do I need to stop eating? What maybe I'll eat here and there. Like my mom said, what should I make a treat and not a habit? So there are different categories that this different foods fall under. We don't have to be so rigid and say, I'll never eat that again. Maybe we eat it in very tiny moderations. And again, this is for your body, for yourself. Not everyone needs to go plant-based. Some people are fine eating meat and the dairy. Your digestive system works just perfectly with that food. For me and my body, all that meat and dairy did was create more acid for me. And I didn't know it until I gave it all up. I mentioned before in a podcast that I struggled with burning whenever I ate red sauce or anything spicy. I would have burning stomach, burning bowel movements, and it would be red and it'd be uncomfortable. But my favorite food was spaghetti. I love spaghetti and pizza, but every time I would eat it growing up, I would be prepared to have uncomfortable bowel movements and burning stomach and throat. And then I just found this plant-based lifestyle and I decided to give up meat. I thought I was going to be vegetarian first, but then I decided on the day of, which was January 1st, 2018, maybe I'll just give up dairy too. And that's what I did. And from then on, I have no issues with spicy food, red sauce. I'm all good. And I found out it's because those foods are high in acid. It creates acidity within. So that is something that my body is sensitive to. That doesn't mean it's everybody. Everyone has different exposures to cancer. And how cancer works is it is going to lodge itself in the area that's most vulnerable in your body. So maybe you have a weak pancreas, right? Maybe you have weak lungs. For me, it's a weak stomach. My grandma had stomach cancer and passed from that. And I've had stomach problems my whole life. So that's my weakness, and that's the thing that I must be very aware of if I don't want the same fate to happen to me. So that is my why for why I eat what I eat and why I stay eating this way, because unbeknownst to me, it was the thing that cured me. When you're curious and you have a desire in your heart for change, I believe the universe, the all, God, wherever you believe, whoever is doing all of this healing, they're helping you. They're giving you the answers if you seek it. So my hope is that at least you take away from today where you become more aware of the ingredients in your food. And let's just start this awareness and try not to judge yourselves negatively. Sometimes you make mistakes like I did. I make several mistakes and bad judgment calls. Sometimes I make exceptions for dairy and I regret it. We're here to live and learn, not to come down on ourselves for being human. We are imperfect, and that is okay. A part of you is perfect, though. So you're living this this life of balancing your imperfect and perfect self and trying to give yourself a lot of grace and love in the process that we call life. All right. Well, who knew that we were going to talk about food the whole time? I didn't. I had a whole plan to talk about my clients and the conversations I had last week, but I suppose I will get back to that. But this was a good talk. So let me know if anything felt like it landed for you and you have any further questions or curiosities around the topics I discussed today. And again, I'm in the process of creating my community, my Poirsha Fit community of Fitleats United, this club that I'm starting online, where we'd have these conversations every single week. And we're all working on becoming healthier. And it's a journey, it's a process. And I believe that I will be working on this my whole life. I don't think it ever becomes easy, but it can become kind of second nature. And you get better at saying no to certain foods and saying yes to other ones. You start to eat things that maybe you don't really care for, but you know it's healthy, so you eat it anyway. That's where I've been. But I want to get a group of like-minded people together where we can connect every week and we can help each other in our individual journeys to become healthier overall. Spoiler alert, eating healthier helps the mind to think healthier. But the mind must be trained. It just doesn't happen just because you're eating better. We have to train our minds to think better. And I think we can once we clear out the junk from our bodies. You eat more, as we call it in Ayurveda, sattvic foods. Foods that are more pure and clean and less adulterated. So that is the goal. So keep listening. You'll learn more about the group. My plan is to launch it in January. I've created a 30 in 30 challenge that we will start with, I'm saying, in February. So I'd rather start the group, get us together in January, use that month to get our foundations, to get to know each other. And then starting February 1st is when we'll start our 30 in 30 challenge. And that's going to be about eating healthier for 30 days. Or was it working out for 30 days? We're starting out with working out for the first 30 days, and then we'll just build from there. All right. Thank you all so much for listening. Let's take 3 collective closing breaths, thinking about food, labels, and how we can become more aware and conscious of what we are putting inside of our bodies. Inhale. Exhale. Breathe in and out. Last one, best one in. Let it go. I'm bringing my hands to heart center. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I imagine that we are all connected, and even though we can't see each other, we feel each other. And the more that we become consciously aware of our own actions and of our own decisions, we are raising the consciousness of all of us as a whole. And as we all become more conscious, we will all as a whole make better decisions. Healthier decisions that are based around love and wellness, opposed to money and bottom line. All of our lives are special and unique, and we all matter. Let us all be on this journey together and work together and support one another. Have a beautiful rest of your day. I'll be back in your ear for Wednesday's breathwork. Namaste.